KC's Audio Vault.
Shaun Morgan and Dale Stewart from Seether.
August 15th, 2008, Part 2. What was the first things you guys ended up buying when the money actually started to come in?
I bought a guitar, first thing I did.
Yeah, I bought the first PRS bass that made it to South Africa.
Yeah.
And was horrible.
Yeah, because both of us, we'd been playing beat-up guitars for years, and we would always be like, we'd go to the guitar shops and sit and play these cool guitars, and we'd be like, one day, man, yeah, when we got some money, both of us went in and bought guitars, that we could be like, yeah, these things actually sound cool, And then I got to the States. The first thing I bought in America was I bought an amp, because I'd had a little tiny, just really crappy amp in South Africa, and it was, I needed to upgrade a little, So I came over and I bought a Mesa Boogie, and I was like, I remember it was, we caught a train to Queens, to the Guitar Center, because we didn't know where there was one in New York. And it was the day before the Limp Bizkit guitar editions. So
right.
All these dudes were in there, just rocking out, man, getting ready for the next day. And I just walked into this one room, and I always loved Mesas. So I just walked in, and I was like, cool. I tried it out. I was like, I'm taking this thing. And so that was, the first thing I bought was a guitar and an amp.
Really not much has changed, I guess.
No, not much.
Well, you guys recently released a bunch of songs, I guess, exclusively through iTunes. It was like the iTunes Originals.
Yeah.
They just brought you in, you played some tunes. You did a Beatles cover on there as well, I guess?
Yeah. Well, the thing was, they wanted us to do songs in a different way that they've been done before. So, we already had acoustic stuff on One Cold Night. So instead of doing it acoustic completely, we had Troy play electric guitar and with his effects and stuff. And so the versions are slightly different. And the whole intention of it was to make it something different. It wasn't like, well, we're just going to re-record the same old songs. It was to make it sound a little left of center, I guess. And so we wanted to do some covers that people wouldn't expect of us, and because we get labeled Nirvana and all that stuff all the time. So we wanted to do something instead of doing the covers that everyone would be like, oh, I totally called it. We actually did a Frank Sinatra song as well, which didn't make it to the originals, but I believe they're saving it for a Frank Sinatra thing later on in the year, which is kind of cool because I don't know if our band gave them the idea or not, but they signed us on first for this album. And it was. I love the Beatles, man. I'm educating Dale on the Beatles, and Troy, our new guitarist, and actually John as well. We're all huge Beatles fans, and we all have the entire collections and all these things. And so when we have those listening parties on the bus, when we all get a little hammered at night, we put on the Beatles really loud, and we play Helter Skelter, and we're like, it's all this stuff where it's like, when you listen to this band, and this one band that pretty much just covered all the bases, man. It's a really inspiring band, and the fact that they did whatever they wanted to do, whenever they wanted to do it, musically, is just intriguing. Because in this day and age, it's you get a lot more flack for being diversive. And sort of changing left or right what you want your sound to be like. People get really offended by that. Like when Fake It came out, we had a lot of people that were really mad about it. And especially when Rise Above This came out, they were like, that's so poppy. It's like, what, more than Broken is? I mean, come on, seriously. Or Fine Again, that stuff. And it's like, it's just this weird whatever, Yeah, so we're huge fans. And Across the Universe is actually, it's just a song that the first time I heard Across the Universe was the Fiona Apple version. And I loved that. And then I heard the Rufus Wainwright version. And it's one of probably the most covered Beatles songs, but maybe not. But I just love the song, so we just picked that. And basically, the version that you hear is Dale and Troy didn't know this song. Well, Dale didn't know the song at all.
I knew the song, I didn't know how to play it.
Yeah, well, so you know what I mean. And that's what I meant. And Troy knew the song as well, but also didn't know what we were going to do. So the version that you hear is basically, it's done in 3 parts. It's me playing acoustic and singing it while John's doing the drums, and then we walked out, and then Dale did the bass, and then Troy did the guitar part. So it was like, because we had never even rehearsed it really, we didn't have time. It was like, hey, you guys have a day off, go do some stuff. We were like, okay, cool. In Chicago, we go in and had to throw something together real quick. So
with all these digital releases, you feel comfortable with the way music industry is going? Do you write an album like the old days? Do you think of a side A and side B?
I think of. No, I don't think of tape cassettes were cooler. I really think of CDs, and mostly you put a lot of thought into the artwork. Like try and make the artwork something that's desirable to look at, and that you go and you put effort into it, and that there's certainly, we're trying to really hold on to the culture of going home with a tangible object in your hand and opening it up and going, man, this is cool, and having the lyrics in there and having artwork that flows and complements the music and the whole deal. And so, I mean, the whole thing is a project. The music and the artwork and the packaging, all of it is one, the name of the album, everything becomes, you're trying to make it one coherent thing, you know. Mm-hmm. I am desperately clinging to the
old days.
At least if we have to lose LPs and tapes, can we not keep CDs, you know? But it's, I mean, you know, you try and tell kids these days, have you ever put on an LP in a room and just cranked it and you felt like you were in the room? And then that's a record. They're like, what, those big black things? It's like, yeah, those big black things sound awesome, man. You know, the stuff that you listen to that's so compressed and digitized, and when you download it and it's horrible. And that's changed the way music is recorded too, because you have to almost compensate for that. And that sucks, because then you're almost crushing the life out of something that could be so dynamic and cool, you know. It's a vast difference. And hopefully you'll have audiophiles, if you will, that they become like, man, I've got to hear music better than I'm hearing it now, you know. And no amount of, you know, fancy speakers or whatever is going to make digital music sound better. It's just not going to happen, and especially not the way it's mixed and produced, and it's because it's all geared towards, even when we were doing the album, like the track listing, it was like, I want it to be this order. They were like, well, it's really not important because everyone's going to buy the song they want and make their own playlist. I'm like, I don't care. For me, again, it's part of the package, you know. It's like, I mean, the track listing for me is a huge deal. I sit and come up with a track listing for all the albums, and I put the songs that I think, in my head, I go, this is going to be the best order. Then I sit and I listen to them, and I'll skip to the end of the one song and see how the next one starts, and if it works, you know what I mean? It's like, it really is
like making a radio show.
Yeah, but it's like a science, man, and it's like, it's something that you put so much time and effort into and so much passion into, and then you just see it get destroyed by a download, man. It's like, But again, you know, there's no accounting for taste, I guess.
And you can't stop progress.
Yeah, technology. Wow. I've always said though, that if I could, like, if you could go back to the first person that invented anything and take him out in a time machine, which you would need the technology to get there, but it would be great because you would you know, I think some technology is great, but I think a lot of it is just makes humans more complacent and more lazy. Like, you know, there's less that you have to do with, since the remote control, and now you can remote control your entire house. It's like, really, you can't get up and turn the light off, man. You have to clap. It's like, it just seems like there's so many ways to make things easier, you know, and that's fair enough. I understand that, but there's also something to be said for, like, dusting off an old LP again and you're putting it on and you're making sure the needle doesn't scratch, because, you know, you still have to have you play some part in it. And I think the interactivity with the older technology was certainly better. Now, I mean, we sit on a bus and you have one remote and you just you touch a couple buttons and things change. It's like, you don't have to do anything, man, and that's for some people, that's cool. I mean, Dale loves that.
I do. It's great until something goes down.
If there's a bug in the system,
and then there's no way to fix it.
Then you're screwed.
It's not like, I mean, like these new cars with these fancy chips in them, and like, you can't fix that. First car I had, I used to cut gaskets out of like cardboard and put them in myself because I couldn't afford to buy new ones. And you fix the fan belt with a pair of nylon stockings, and I used to change the brake pads once a month myself because I could do it, man. It was a really simple vehicle. It's like it's an old Toyota, so you open it up. There's really not much to it, you know. Now you open those things, I'm like, I'm out, man. I'm not even going to get near that.
Yeah, it's all electronic.
It's not even just about the combustion engine anymore. It's like about, and this program that controls this thing and this little chip and I mean, if that chip goes out, your car is done. You know, it just stalls and stops on the side of the road. Yeah. And there's, you know, again, it's great to have the technology, but when it fails, everyone panics. Like the Y2K thing, everyone was like, "Whoa, man, the world's gonna end." It's like, really? Because of one little number? Come on, man. But I tell you what, those Y2K computer programmer guys just killed it for 2 years. Like they would go in and update your system for like $20,000 a piece. I mean, I know some guys that did that back home, and they awesome. Gee, by the end of 2 years, they were like millionaires, man. It was crazy.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming in. You got the show tonight at Burton Cummings Theater. And I realize, I guess, next year is 10th anniversry of want to any big plans?
We got many big plans. It's just technology's made us complacent, so we don't. No, we want to do a DVD, definitely. We definitely want to put out some sort of box set, or at least release the album we had as Sarin Gas in South Africa, like which basically was the first album we released. You know, and all these things we'll talk to our label about. But I would love to do, if not a complete, you know, demo box set, because we were listening to it the other night. There's like just before we even got signed at all, we had 40-something songs demoed, and then we did those. Then we had the Fragile album as Sarin Gas, and then we came to the States, and then just for Finding Beauty, we wrote over 40 songs that are usable. There were some that were just numbers, but I think it would be great to release at least something different to commemorate it.
And you guys pull out a lot of covers live that you probably haven't put down.
Yeah,
it would be kind of neat to have like a Seether
I'd like to
compilation.
Do that,
That would be fun, yeah.
I think it'd be cool to do a cover album again of songs people don't expect. Because, instead of doing like the Alice in Chains. And the reason why we do those songs is not because we compare ourselves, but it's because we really, for me, those bands inspired me. So it's like, we play them as a tribute, especially to Lane Staley. And those are the bands that, man, they made me pick up a guitar and want to play music. So it's not like, oh, look at us, we think we're the same thing. It's like, lately we've been doing an STP song as well. Almost our timing probably sucks because STP's out there playing those songs now, but it's still a tribute to them, and it's like I would love to do an album of songs where we take songs people don't expect, like songs like I don't know ABBA songs and Gordon Lightfoot songs and or Neil Young songs, whatever, like just like some of the older stuff and reinventing those and like making them our own. That would be cool.
Well, thanks again for coming in, guys.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us.
All the interviews you want on iTunes and at Power97.com. KC's Audio Vault.
Casey Norman is Power 97's music director and can be heard every weekday from 2 till 6 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Power 97 is Winnipeg's best rock.